The next tune will be The Nearness of You. It also has some special significance to Aaron and Debbie.
One, two, three, four.
story I want to tell you about Harold and I, too. We were doing a recording session one morning, and Harold said, George, I want to buy you breakfast. I said, okay. And the restaurant is right across the street. It's a very small restaurant, very quaint. So we walked in together, and this is a restaurant, and there were dishes all over the table, on every table. So he said, George, why don't you pick up the dishes and take it to the counter? I said, wait a minute, where's the waitress? No, just do what I tell you to do. So I picked up all his dishes and took it to the counter, and he gave me a rag. He said, now go wipe the table. And I said, okay. And then I said, what do we do now? He said, now go up and have the lady, and put in your order. And I said, that's fine. I put in my order, and he put in his order. And we took our plate to the table, and we sat and we ate, talked stories about the session. Then he says, now take the dishes back to the counter. I said, oh, okay. Then he gives me the rag again. He says, now you go and wipe the table. I said, wait a minute, Harold, where is the waiter or waitresses? They don't have any. I said, then if I'm going to do all of this, would you give me a tip? And this is a story I want to remember because it's funny. I mean, he says it's the most popular restaurant. And that place, it cost him $1. 50 cents for me and 50 cents for him. And this is something I looked at him and said, you know, Harold, I've never seen, I mean, there's a lot of Chinese that are frugal. but you're the worst. And that was this is something I will always remember about Harold. I love you, Harold.
I thought I was going to say that the tip you gave him was to buy low and sell high. Our next guest is Noah Locomoto, who wants to be known as Harold's biggest fan. That was his idea. He also has something for Harold.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the drummers that have sort of paved the way for us. I'm not so young anymore, but the younger generation of drummers. Morgan Grant, thank you. Buddy Greavy, thank you. We owe a lot to you guys for showing us the way. And of course, Harold Chang, has done that for literally hundreds, maybe thousands of drummers, through his teaching. Someone asked me recently if I studied with Harold, and I thought about it, and it was an older lady, and I said, not formally, but I'm still learning from him, to this day. And Harold, like the other gentleman I mentioned, this is years back, and they were really trailblazers and pioneers in what they did, not just the playing, but how they dealt with the business and the social climate of what was going on in the world at the time. But to think about, that Harold, local drummer or local musician playing on gold records, that's not done very often. There have been local musicians that have moved to the mainland and lived somewhere else and play with, big name artists, and then they record and, end up on gold records. But this band actually lived in Hawaii, and toured the world. That's pretty, even by today's standards, pretty groundbreaking. And also, no one mentioned this, but Harold was one of the first endorsers where a drum company would seek him out to play their product. And this drum set that's up here, I don't think all of you can see it, but it's an old Pearl drum set. And at one time, Harold was an endorser for Pearl. What year was that, Harold?
1960.
60. And I found this drum set in Waimanalo. And it was, when I found it was like some rock and roll band had been using it. It was in really, really rough shape. But the shells were in great shape, and I cleaned it up, and then did some research on it, and it turned out to be a line of drums that Pearl made at the time in the 60s called the Pearl President. And through my research on the internet, I came upon an ad with Harold Chang, and it was a picture of Harold behind the drum set, and apparently it was in a catalog, and it said, Harold Chang plays Pearl President. So that's a kid from the era that Harold was playing those drums, so I thought it would be really appropriate to bring him, and we'll get to hear a lot of great drummers playing today. So Harold, we greatly indebted to you and of the other gentlemen, but we decided to get a bass drum head, like a custom bass drum head made for you. The bass drum text says, "You're once in a blue moon person. You're a once in a blue moon person. Congratulations from our generation, to our drum father, like our godfather, Harold Chang." Wow. Now, thank you, Harold, for everything. Thank you. Debbie wants the drummers, if we can, to get all the drummers up here, because that's a pretty fantastic idea to get. I mean, we're going to have several generations of drummers up here. They take a photo with Harold and the drummer. So if we could, all the drummers, if you can make your way up here, we're going to take a group shot.
Harold, are you lucky? You got girls. You're teaching girls how to play drums.
He taught girls how to do more than just play drums.
That's right, but I was just trying to be nice.
This is Arthur Lyman's daughter, Katia Lyman.
Which one?
Hold on more effort.
Hey, Doc, we're going to call Debbie, through the grapevine, that you and Harold, is that right? You guys are going together? What? How come you going out with here? What? Why did you join me? Wait. I want to know.
You get a discount. He wants to know if you get a discount on your drum lessons.
No, but what I want to know is, I mean, he's teaching drums, And how did you meet up with him? You want to tell us that? Yeah, and why you put the phone together?
What happened was, I'm in my brother's band, and usually I sing and play keyboards, and then my niece is a really good drummer right there, and so she started taking trumpet. So my brother said, oh, and my other niece, Ivy, started playing sax, and she's usually a bass player. So my brother said, hey, this is good, now we can do horns. So guess what? You're the drummer. So I'm like, what? I don't know how to do anything. So I go in to see Harold, my first lesson. I said, Mr. Chang, I'm in my brother's band, and I have to play these 3 songs next week. And by the way, I don't know how to hold the sticks. And he goes, what? Anyway, I've been studying Harold for about a year and a half now. And Wayne and I have been collecting evidence. And we are convinced that Harold is either a vampire or a genetic mutant. And actually, his family is here, and they all look somewhat normal. So Wayne and I are leaning towards the vampire. It's the only thing that explains his condition. And I have 6 areas here of glaring evidence of vampire-like symptoms. Number 1, no need for sleep. It's like 10:45 at night, and he goes, do you want to go see a movie? And I'm like, are you serious? It's already past my bedtime. Then I wake up at like 2 or 3 or 4 a.m., and where is he? Is he out feeding or something? Number 2, constant physical activity without rest. Harold has a grueling schedule. He works at Harry's Music 20 hours a week. Then he teaches 25 students. He's out almost every night at rehearsal, or he goes to support his friends and fellow musicians. So he's out all the time. And I'm exhausted just watching him. And so he says to me, honey, if you can't keep up with me, you don't have to. I'm like, well, thank you. I need to take a nap. I think I might be too old for Harold. Number 3, constant performance of death-defying gastronomical feats that would have killed a mere mortal by now. Harold, first of all, eats like a pig. And he eats really bad food, like oxtail all the time, French fries, hamburgers. When we go to the movie, the popcorn basically has to float in the butter. Lick the butter off your elbow. Now, since I've been eating with him, I've gained 10 pounds, and my cholesterol is at dangerously high levels. Even with the medication I'm taking. Nothing happens to Harold. I try to give him vegetables, and he globs mayonnaise and butter all over it. I need a defibrillator eating with the guy. Number 4, vampire-like physical traits. He has absolutely no aches and pains. I'm riddled with aches and pains. Perfect hearing, perfect vision. His mind is like a trap. He reminds me to do stuff. Perfect health, lightning fast reflexes. Something falls off the table and he grabs it mid-flight. Very fast hands. You should see him playing like congas and bongos. I mean the ones at home. I really do have congas and bongos. And he's stealth. Like I'm chopping vegetables or something, and I turn around and he's right behind me. Like, where did he come from? The guy is stealth. Number 5, close companion, constantly complaining of unexplained neck pain. Now, some of my golf buddies are here, and they know for the last year and a half I have not played golf because something is wrong with my neck. It always hurts. Do you see any marks on my neck, Tom? The 6th thing is unexplained superiority in stamina and physical performance. Yes, naughty friends, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about his drum playing. How come Harold is so good? Well, because he's been practicing for hundreds of years. Duh! So anyway, Harold, you have earned this t-shirt. And on one side of the t-shirt, it has a picture of Harold when he was younger, which we think was taken in the 1600s. And then the other side is a picture of Harold today. And this t-shirt says, Harold Chang, still the master beater. Doesn't need the master beater t-shirt, but what he needs is a gift from everybody, and it is a certificate to Harry's Music Store. No, it's not. As you know, Harold is a clothes hound. Harold has hundreds of t-shirts and shirts and hundreds of shoes and hundreds of pants. In fact, Wayne, enough to last a lifetime, maybe several lifetimes. Hello? So where would you think a modern vampire would shop? As if we don't have enough evidence. Look at this. Evidence of clothing store wrappers. His favorite store is Forever 21. So anyway, Harold, whatever you are, a mutant, vampire, alien, I'll still love you.
You forgot to mention the other former life of Harold as a motorcycle road champion, and so he's engaged in death-defying activities, from being a jazz musician to being a motorcycle rider. And Harold had many turns where his 9 lives had gotten down to about 4, so he gave up riding at that point. But he's been successfully able to survive incredible phenomenon, and I have been present at a number of these. So, well, you know, his longevity goes beyond being a vampire.
Well, applause. We'd like to have Chuck James come up. Chuck is a professional jazz drummer, teacher of percussion and business, owner of 3 music studios. And where are you, Chuck? Oh, you want to go up and say something nice? But there's also a lot of things like vices, like Harold might have some kind of vices too. Everybody's going to say something nice, you know, and then this party will be over in half an hour. You're going to say something, tell us some bad stories.
Actually, I really can't. I really can't. That was what I was going to talk about. Anyways, welcome your friends and the relatives and musicians, friends. I've seen a lot of people I haven't seen in years in Oregon. It's a pleasure to see you again. And anyways, we're here to celebrate Harold. It's his birthday. And, you know, he's been playing around this in our musical community for over 70 years and or more. And it's amazing, you know. And some people like to get up here and do a roast of some sort and make fun of you or whatever. I can't do that. And the reason why I can't do it is because you're the most kindest, most gentle human being on this planet. Thank you very much. You know, he's always wanted to share his knowledge and his experience. You know, it's always fun to talk to Harold after a NAMM show. I don't think he's missed one, and I don't think he's ever missed one, a NAMM show, but bringing back his experience and knowledge of a product. And so, you know, that usually happens in February or something like that. So I'm over at his store in March, finding out what's new in the business, and he's the one that knows, that's for sure. So I really appreciate that. Also, I want to talk about Harold's generosity. I used to have a place on 9th and Y-Line, and I taught there for many years, and then it disappeared. And due to Harold saying to me, he says, come on, teach over at the Harry's. And I went over there, and he, as well as the staff over there, were so gracious to me and made me feel right at home. And I really, really, really appreciate that. Also, I came here in 1972, and Harold was one of my first role models and in my drumming career. And, you know, in gigging, teaching, selling, and how to be a good businessman. Well, I hope I've lived up to that. So, thank you, Harold, and for your friendship and your guidance.